Lack of empathy, depression, and addiction to technology are among some of the few detrimental challenges of this generation's adolescence. However, with the INFJ's highly sensitive nature, combined with their need for a broader purpose and understanding of life, this personality type can end up feeling like there's absolutely no hope. Welcome back, psychos! Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into the video, starting with number 1. Growing up too fast. They say kids will be kids, but in today's day and age, it may be a little far-fetched to think in such regards. In fact, according to a survey done by pandasecurity.com, the average parent allows their child a smartphone at the young age of only 10 years old. While it may be for security purposes and possibly in attempts of avoiding their child feeling left out, by doing so, the child becomes exposed to a world that was inaccessible to previous generations of youth. With unlimited access to news, social media, and other privileges previously reserved for adults, forcing them into emotional maturity before they reach adulthood. For the INFJ, who processes much of their external environment on an intuitive level, this rapid maturity can cause them to skip out on crucial developmental experiences, which end up stifling their creative and imaginative qualities they require in adulthood. And without these qualities, they can easily fall victim to depression and poor mental health. Number 2. Collective depression. Speaking of depression, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, or NIMH, an estimated 4.1 million adolescents in the United States had at least one major depressive episode in 2020. And with extroverted feeling and sensing as the foundation of how this personality type perceives the world around them, INFJ adolescents can end up taking on these feelings and beliefs of their fellow peers. Despite their stereotypical need to be themselves, when the INFJ personality type isn't fully developed, this sense of self that they're supposed to pride themselves on is still in the building process. This means that by observing their surroundings and the people they're surrounded by with keen accuracy, INFJ youth can find themselves adopting emotional responses that are not their own. With little explanation, they can end up feeling overwhelmingly depressed due to the combined effect of their loss of hope in humanity, as well as the depressive feelings they absorb through their fellow classmates and online influences. In fact, the National Institute of Mental Health also claims that a key factor in the higher levels of depression just so happens to be spending too much time on electronic devices. Which brings us to number 3. Social media addiction. For the personable introvert who craves social interaction but tends to prefer spending time on their own, social media may seem like a perfect solution. However, it doesn't take a social media addict to know that platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook come with their own consequences. In fact, for the INFJ youth in particular, extroverted sensing activities such as in-person sports, peer groups, and after-school programs are their only saving grace to balancing out their highly active introverted intuition. Without these grounding activities that allow them to develop their least dominant function, INFJs of all ages can quickly fall into a dreaded introverted intuition, introverted thinking loop that causes them a host of negative feelings and self-judgments. So, while social media allows them to remain in their comfort zones, it can actually exacerbate these internal struggles by causing them to compare themselves to the rose-tinted lives of others. Not only that, but social media amongst the youth population can also make them more susceptible to cyberbullying, especially for the INFJ who tries their best to express themselves in their own unique way. Number 4. Bullying. On the topic of bullying, there's no doubt that today's youth, and each generation of youth that has come before them, has experienced some form of bullying in one way or another. Yet, with social media intensifying the expectations today's adolescents tend to place on themselves, bullying has become that much more challenging for the ones who don't feel obligated to fit the mold. In fact, with a perceived shy and timid nature, INFJ teens can end up being taken advantage of for their empathetic and helpful character. With high self-expectations and a unique imaginative approach to life, INFJ adolescents can project a distinctive mentality that sticks out like a sore thumb. And unfortunately, this distinguishing charm is only admired by few, and usually not until later in life. So, while it's extremely rare for the INFJ to contribute to bullying themselves, they may find it difficult to dodge negativity from others, only adding to their self-critical habits. Number 5. Drug use. With depression, lack of self-actualization, and uncertainty of the world's future, some teens turn to recreational and prescribed substances in an attempt to balance the overwhelming stress placed upon them. And while life circumstances and the level of instilled confidence may have more to do with teens falling into peer pressure and alternative measures of dealing with their stress, personality type can also play a factor. With a stress-prone inner thought process, without the correct tools and extroverted grounding measures mentioned previously, INFJ teens may find that therapy-prescribed medication may be their saving grace. And while they're not particularly vulnerable to peer pressure, it's not rare for the experimental INFJ teen to find themselves using alcohol or mind-altering substances to maintain an uncharacteristic social life, in hopes of finding a place within their surrounding social groups. In fact, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, just over a quarter of high school seniors surveyed reported drinking alcohol within the past month. This is what makes natural and practiced social exercises for this personality type and other introverted types so crucial in early developmental stages. Number 6. Academic problems. It's said that about 5% of adolescent students drop out of high school each year in the United States, according to the National Center for Education Statistics. With each issue affecting today's teens being interconnected, it's fair to say that high stress, uncertainty, and unattainable self-expectations play a major role in this issue. And unfortunately, when talking about the INFJ adolescent in particular, their introverted intuitive dominant function makes them predisposed for these qualities right from the get-go. Their perfectionism allows them to be some of the top students in their class. However, with such high expectations placed on themselves, combined with them being their own biggest critic, it's fair to say that they can easily fall into the trap of placing too much stress on themselves, sometimes to the point of it becoming detrimental to their overall mental health. Number 7. Conspiracy narratives placed upon them. Now, we won't get too deep into such controversial topics. However, for the INFJ who tends to think outside the ideas and suggestions placed upon them by governmental institutions, they can feel as if the future of their freedom is being severely jeopardized. INFJs, especially those who are at the age of self-discovery, are prone to questioning everything, especially the narratives that affect their ability to be themselves at no cost. So, when they have their rights challenged, they can't help but to stop and question whether or not there's a deeper agenda at hand. And while this doesn't only affect this personality type, nor the age group being discussed in today's video, the passionate and world-changing views of the INFJ teen can feel the effects of this division at their very core. Luckily, despite the separation and challenges that come with such conspired upheaval, they have the strong will and ability to find like-minded individuals to stay true to their intuitive truth of the matter. Number 8. Shifting economy. With inflation at the root of the economy shifting being experienced now and in future years, the goals and abilities of today's adolescents and young adults just aren't as attainable as they were in past generations. The American dream of owning a home and starting a family seems far-fetched for the youth of today's world. And with the INFJ's idealized perception of their future, this reality can put a real damper on the options they really do have. Luckily, this personality type isn't opposed to taking alternative routes in life when it comes to income and living environments. However, when they're challenged with lack of alternative influence, it can cause their motivation to plummet. On a more positive note, this innovative type can utilize their reluctance to follow the herd mentality and may just end up excelling in entrepreneurial roles and goals that weren't available to previous generations. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, what would you say is the biggest challenge affecting INFJ teens today? Let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.